Hello, everyone. We are continuing with the one and only Bob today. We're kind of in the middle of right now. Bob's sort of telling us about his past, how he got to the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, which is where we learned about him in the one and only Ivan. So he talked about how he was thrown off the truck and he had to kind of wander in the woods until he eventually found the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade, and that's where we left off last time. So we are on a chapter called History. I made it to the mall, slept in dirty hay by some garbage bins. The next night, I found that hole in Ivan's cage, stole his banana, slept on his belly, and the rest, as they say, is history. For 2 years, I lived at that seedy old place that was part mall, part circus, and all crummy. But that was nothing compared to Ivan. He spent 27 lousy years there, and our dear friend Stella, an old circus elephant, was stuck there for most of her life, too. When Stella passed away, it nearly broke Ivan's heart. I tried like crazy to get him through those dark days, but what really saved him, I think, was Ruby, our baby elephant friend. Before Stella died, Ivan promised her he'd get Ruby out of that awful place. And to my amazement, he actually pulled it off. Ivan and Ruby and a bunch of our other pals ended up going to different places, zoos and sanctuaries that knew how to take care of them. They're with others of their own kind, and they're loved and well cared for. It's been over a year now since we all moved, and they seem so much happier. Me, I lucked out. My girl Julia, whose dad had worked at the mall, decided her family needed a dog. Who was I to argue? 2 square meals, my own bed, all the belly rubs I could beg for? What dog in his right mind would say no to that? The best part is, we don't live far from Ivan and Ruby. I get to see them all the time. I'm glad they're nearby, and I'm thrilled they've settled in so well. Really, it's a solid situation. But it's not a perfect one. Tennis ball. The way I understand things, it's like this. We live on a lonely ball called Earth, and humans have basically been throwing it against the wall for so long that the poor old ball is falling apart. It's like me with a tennis ball, chewing away until it's nothing but pieces of slimy rubber that taste like, well, slimy rubber. And that means there aren't as many places left for wild animals. Seems there are good zoos, and good sanctuaries and bad sanctuaries, just like there are good dog families and bad dog families. The good places are trying to keep wild species healthy and safe. They don't want endangered animals to go away forever. They also don't want Earth to turn into a slimy, dilapidated tennis ball. Although, honestly, slimy rubber doesn't taste half bad. You should try it sometime. The thing is, I would give anything to see my dear pal Ivan deep in the jungles of Africa, where he was born. Or to see Ruby running across the savannah with a herd of elephants, her big ol' ears flapping in the wind. I'd give up a mile-high pile of bacon cheeseburgers to see that happen. I really would. But it ain't happening. I get that, and so do they. When you're an animal, it helps to be a realist. A realist is someone who kind of understands the truth and doesn't dream about better things to happen. Part 2. Dream. This morning, I wake up in my cozy bed way too early for Julia to make me breakfast. She and her mom and her dad are still asleep. And even the guinea pigs are silent. My belly grumbles, and once again, I curse my thumblessness. Humans are one big design flaw. Their inferior noses, their inscrutable humdrum rumps, and don't get me started on their odor. But the opposable thumb idea? Yeah, that was a nice upgrade. The cans I could open, the doorknobs I could conquer. Anyway, I feel worried. Off. Worry's a waste of time, and it doesn't fit with my tough guy act, but sometimes I can't seem to help myself. Before I woke up, I'd been dreaming about Ivan and Ruby and Stella. It wasn't a nice dream, a fun and run toe twitcher. Nope. This one was a nightmare, a bad one. We were swimming, all 4 of us, in a black, raging river. For some reason, I was in the lead. And I kept looking back, telling them I was going to save them. Me. Save them, 2 elephants and a gorilla. As I paddled like mad, their voices faded. I looked behind me and they'd vanished. See a picture of Bob? And then I heard it. A faint bark. That bark. I woke up then like I always do. I did an all-over shake trying to toss off the stench of nightmare that clung to me like shampoo after a bath. I told myself to chill, get a grip, stop worrying about nothing. And yet, some primitive part of my brain, the wolf in me maybe, is on edge. A lot can go wrong in the moment left to chance. The blink of an eye, the bounce of a bone. There are so many ways the world can find to fail you. The smell of a storm. By the time everyone else wakes up, I've calmed down, but the wind outside sure hasn't. It's an early fall Saturday, gusty, with scraps of sun, clouds bouncing off each other like bunnies in a basket, messages on the wind pouring in from everywhere, from dogs making their daily rounds, from feral cats, from anxious raccoons. Basically, everybody is asking the same thing. What is the deal with the weather today? I already know. Weather Channel was on last night with a screen full of big white cotton candy looking swirls. Julia's dad, George, had already taped up several windows. Sarah, her mom, packed an emergency bag just in case we have to evacuate. Another hurricane is on its way. Third this season. Not as big as the last couple, but slow moving. I've seen the routine, know the ropes. Once breakfast is done, I sit on the couch in the living room, waiting impatiently for Julia to come home so she can take me on our daily stroll. She has a dog walking service, and she's out walking other dogs. I get my own private walk, because she's my own private girl. I can practically taste the storm coming through the open window. The back of my throat tingle, the metallic edge, the fizzy energy. But it's more than that. It's as if the air is up to no good, sneaking up on the world and looking for trouble. On the poetry of stink. Of course, not everybody can smell what I'm smelling. My nose is a zillion times more powerful than a human's. Dogs are experts at odor, students of stink. We analyze the air the way humans read poetry, searching for invisible truths. And we don't just smell the good and bad stuff that people notice with their substandard schnozzes. The usual suspects, popcorn and lilacs and freshly sharpened pencils, diapers and Brussels sprouts and freaked out skunks. No, our noses get it all. And the whole shivery double rainbow of April, humans, they're lucky to get a cloudy day in November. We get that molecule of roast beef dancing on the wind 50 miles from the tidy kitchen where it just slid out of the oven. We get the cherry lollipop under the back seat of the Honda 16 cars up on the highway at rush hour. We get things humans can't even dream of getting. We're the ones who find the miracle earthquake baby cuddled in her crib under tons of rubble. We're the ones who find lost hikers in the wilderness after a quick whiff of a sweaty sock. We can even tell when someone's sick. We can smell seizures and cancer and migraine headaches. Try getting your guinea pig to do that. We smell feelings too. Sad has a sharp scent with an undertone of sweetness. Sad smells like being lost in a winter forest as the sun goes down. And happy? Happy is the best. But there's a touch of wistfulness around the edges. Happy smells like bacon, ice cream served up in an expensive leather shoe. You're going to love every minute of it, but you know it won't last forever. The news. Sometimes when Julie and I go for walks, I'll break at a corner. Corners are the best for fresh news. And she'll tug and say, "Come on, Bob, there's nothing there." Oh, but there is. Here's the thing about poop and pee. I get that humans are not into them. I see the bathroom doors shut tight, the embarrassed, downcast gazes. You guys are totally missing out. There's a whole lot of info hiding in your average pee mail. When dogs want to share the latest gossip, we just wait until nature calls. You'd be amazed what we can learn during a quick bathroom break. People read the news, check the TV, browse the web. I linger over a fire hydrant and inhale the whole wide world. My ears, by the way, are almost as remarkable as my nose. I pick up on all kinds of things humans can't hear. What we do with our noses and our ears is kind of like taking a big old knot and loosening it up, separating out the strands, unbraiding things. People smell a reeking pile of trash in a dumpster. We smell a dollop of cream cheese, a hint of peanut butter, a smattering of Fruit Loops. People hear the roar of a crowd in a stadium. We hear a strain of whiny 4-year-old, a whisper of worried superfan, a note of grumpy hot dog vendor. Man, dogs are cool. All right, we'll stop there for today.